How are we doing, folks? Well, still might make it. We're going out to a show today, a local show, not too far away. So I'll give the bike a run. It's not been run since September last year. Normally goes within 3 or 4 kicks if it's been stood a while. After about 10 kicks, nothing, not even a, normally get a bit of a pop. So I thought, just check for a spark, pull the plug out, spark in. But when I was kicking the bike over, without the plug in, still a fair bit of resistance. So thinking it can't be wet sumping because I actually fitted, I only use it over winter. If you can just see it down there, it's just a little, it's actually an 8mm gas isolation valve from Screwfix. So I just normally turn that off over winter, and it has got a new spring and ball, and I did seat the anti-siphon valve on the intermediate casing before it all went back, and I've not really had an issue, but I've never really had it stood for such a long time without it running. However, I pull the sump plug out and voila, probably what, I don't know, 200 cc's maybe of engine oil in there. So where can it be coming from? Well, it can't be coming from the oil tank because the isolation valve was off, so it can only be coming from the return line. Return line obviously is above atmosphere when it goes back into the top tank tube, so there's going to be a siphon break there, but the issue is something that I've created. I've fitted this non-commando oil filter in the return line and being rather smart, I thought, maximise the space or whatever, I fitted it sideways on, so it actually it's that way up. But if you look inside here, the actual the hole, it feeds into the outside of the filter first through this hole here, and then obviously when the filter fills up, through the filter medium into this hole and back into the tank. So obviously when you shut the bike off, whatever's in that oil canister eventually would run back, but according to the filter manufacturer, Emigo, there is it's hard to see, but there's like a rubber membrane in here which the oil pressure pushes off its seat. I don't know if you can catch that. Pushes the rubber membrane off its seat. It's like a rubber washer, and then it obviously springs back when there's no more flow, but obviously it's pretty crap. I can actually get a screwdriver down the side of it, and this is like if it would be fitted onto a car on the side of the engine block, so when you leave it over the night or whatever, the oil doesn't run back into the sump, which doesn't make it any odds on a wet sump, but it just means that when you restart the car the next morning, the oil pressure is only down for a milliseconds before it gets to the crank, because everything's still full. Obviously this isn't working, it's just draining back, and the other is a bit of a crude valve arrangement anyway, because you've got in the sump, I've got one of these aluminium fin drain plugs on it. You've got the tube that comes down, the suction tube, and in the bottom of that tube is a valve which drops and supposed to seal it off, but it's only by gravity, and obviously not that effective over the months it's been stood. So wet sumping, but created by myself. So you're obviously going to get whatever is in the lines anyway, which is nothing, but obviously I'm going to also get or whatever's in the filter, because the hole is so close to the bottom, so it's completely drained that filter. So I just thought, if anybody's out there thinking of fitting one of these, just be mindful that it's got to be the right way up. Otherwise you are, if you leave it over time, going to get this siphonic action, because this one-way flat valve in the filter doesn't work. So I'm just going for today, I'm just going to put a piece of 8mm copper tube in there, just so I can take the bike to the show. But obviously I now need to remount this. I have to make a bracket that comes up under here, and it'll be screwed the right way up. So yeah, wet sumping, but wet sumping on the return side, and obviously me not thinking or not being smart enough. So it's worth, when you're going to fit one of them, which I think is a great idea to fit one, just make sure that it's the right way up. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one.